3 rounds to go. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to the F1 2019 HAAS Road to Glory Season 2, where today we head to the US Grand Prix. And like I said, just 3 more races towards the end of the season, still a whole lot to play for. The Constructors' Championship may have been decided once again, Ferrari coming out on top, but it is all still to play for, with both within that team and below them as well. Second in the World Championship in both the Constructors and Drivers' World Championship. Obviously, Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel still duking out. I think just 12 points separate the pair of them as we head in towards this third last race of the World Championship. And I'm sure you guys are excited as I am to see who will come out on top in that team. You know, it's been a long time, obviously, since Ferrari last won a World Championship. Sebastian Vettel just missed out last season, and are we going to see a repeat of that again? How dramatic would that be if Sebastian Vettel loses out on 4 World Championships in a row now in the late stages of the seasons there? That would be quite crazy, I'll be honest, and a huge psychological blow for Sebastian. But yeah, he lost it once again to Hamilton in the 2019 HAAS Road to Glory Season 1, and then Charles Leclerc is still slowly but surely closing down that gap with just a few rounds to go here in Season 2. So yeah, very excited for that. The battle between Mercedes, Ferrari, and Mercedes, Renault even, and Racing Point for the Constructors' World Championship. Second overall is still very hotly contested. Renault have now moved up into second, and well, it looks like Mercedes is just a case of how badly are they going to slip away in these final few rounds of the World Championship. No upgrades coming into this weekend. Not very often we get that in this Formula 1 calendar, but still plenty of progress to be made on the car as well. I actually noticed something a little bit weird. The fact that a major upgrade was better than an ultimate upgrade there. Not too sure how that one worked out. But anyway, let's dive in then. It's time for round 19 of Season 2, episode 43, I think, if I'm not mistaken, of this career mode. We're almost ready. It's time for the US Grand Prix qualifying.
We're expecting qualifying to start any minute here in Austin, Texas, where drivers will be hoping to top the timesheets today and be ready for tomorrow's US Grand Prix. So then, Ant, it's another Grand Prix weekend, another exciting qualifying session ahead of us. What are you going to be looking out for over the next few minutes?
The first question is going to be who can avoid making mistakes. There isn't much margin for error in qualifying, and you have to bear in mind that the track conditions may have changed since practice, particularly as we've had a few support races in the meantime. If the brake bias settings, for example, don't take this into account, it's extremely easy to lock up a front wheel and cause a flat spot. Just like that, your lap's ruined, and you've wasted a set of tyres to boot.
So here we are then, ready for the US Grand Prix, and we are ready for qualifying here. Obviously, the aim at the moment, this is our home Grand Prix. We have really got to try and get a good result this weekend. We've had a weird season, I'll be honest. It started out mediocre, got worse, suddenly got much better, and then it started to taper out again towards the end of the season. It's really been an up and down year for us with HAAS. And you can see coming down in towards Sector 2, the end of Sector 2 on our first lap in Q1. I hadn't played the game in a few days, as you'll probably guess by the upload schedule recently. I can only apologise for everything that is going on. But yeah, I hadn't played the game in a few days, and safe to say I was probably feeling a bit rusty on F1 2019. Now, obviously, I've done all the free practice sessions, everything like that, but nothing. I've always found it's a bit weird that the free practice sessions don't really set you up for qualifying on F1 2019. So hopefully we can, try and get up into a rhythm, get into the groove nice and quickly now. To see coming towards the end of my Q1 run, that actually make a bit of a mistake as we head in towards the second to last corner. They take the IndyCar line, and we're only down in P16 at this stage of the session there, so inevitably we would have to go for a second run at the dying stages of this session. You can see coming through in towards the final couple of corners, we're 4.5 tenths up as we have just 2 corners to go there. Really get a nice run over the curbs in towards the final corner there, break it nice and tidy, use up all the curbs as best as possible and trying to get the drive on the exit of the final corner. We are going to improve by near enough half a second there, and it is going to mean we do get through into Q2 there. 14th place at the end of Q1 there. I'll take that at the end of the day. We're always trying to get through into Q2 at the moment. We've had quite an impressive run, I think, of Q2 appearances in recent weeks. I think since Spa, maybe since Hungary. I can't quite remember. I think we made it into Q2 in every single session. I think I'm pretty certain we have at the end of the day there. Romain Grosjean would get through into Q2 as well there, and then obviously because we had to do that double run in Q1 there, would be just a 1 lap sprint in Q2 here to try and extract everything we possibly could from this HAAS car. Lucas Weber currently leads the way as we head in towards the final couple of corners there. The AI down in the low 129s. That is absolutely phenomenal there. Unfortunately for myself, that is not such a phenomenal line through the final corner there. Get a horrendous run through those final couple of corners there, and it's only going to be P15 at the end of the session. And I'll admit that was a little bit frustrating. We did have a bit of a comparison with the split time between myself and Romain Grosjean, and we were matching him up to that point. It's one of those weird tracks. Kota actually seems quite balanced at the end of the day there. But yeah, Lucas Weber, Sergio Perez and Hamilton make up the top 3 at the end of Q2 there. Grosjean does get himself up into P13 there, and yeah, we lost a good half a second in that final corner alone there. You can see a 24.3 and a 30.6, and yeah, 24.7 and a 36.2. So we were pretty even with Grosjean up until the final sector where we threw away a good 0.4 of a second there. So yeah, we clearly had some good pace towards the end of the day. They're at least equal to my teammate Grosjean, but let's forget about that and jump on into the US Grand Prix.
What fantastic enthusiasm we have for Formula One here in the United States of America. And it's an enthusiasm born from generations of memorable Grand Prix racing. Bruce McLaren took his maiden victory at Sebring way back in 1959, and John Watson's 1983 victory at Long Beach, well, that still holds the record for the lowest ever starting position for a race winner. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles an hour, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and the very long back straight into turn 12. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Now, can I talk to you about Sebastian Vettel? Everything's on the line here today and the title hangs in the balance. So how do you think they'll be coping with all that pressure?
I think as long as they keep their mind on the task and not its historical significance, they'll be just fine. This is a race just like any other. You do the best you can and accept that sometimes things are going to happen outside of your control. If they can approach today with that attitude, the pressure shouldn't be a problem.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Devon Butler will lead us away from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Lucas Weber and Gasly. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Perez, Hülkenberg, Norris and George Russell, Leclerc, Mr. Monaco, Lance Stroll and Verstappen, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Alexander Albon and Daniel Kvyat. Grosjean and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, this is the team's home race. We're all relying on you to impress today.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the US Grand Prix, and the team once again just stressing the importance. This is our home Grand Prix. We do need to try and get a good race out here today. We are actually going to go for a bit of a risky 2-stop strategy for this one. You can see going on for a double set on the soft compound tyres and a stint on the mediums should hopefully take us home in this race. But the 5 lights are coming on then for the US Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. They're actually got off to quite a quick getaway. Clearly people have got better things to be doing with a Sunday afternoons there. Clearly we don't know. A horrendous start on the run towards turn 1 for Verstappen, and I think that was Carlos Sainz trying to look round the outside as we head through the first couple of corners, but we're a little bit later on the brakes through the first corner there. We do hold on to P12 of this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc Championship, you know, right up there in the battle. Not the best place to be starting this weekend, and very, very slow through those first couple of corners. But he is certainly someone I don't want to get tangled up with, I'll be honest with you guys, in this race there, as Max Verstappen tries to go for a little bit of a late lunge on myself there. Should have seen that door was always going to be slammed shut right in his face there, and I'm sure Verstappen probably made myself a little bit of an enemy from the Dutchman there, but we'll gloss over that and continue on there. We have held on to our grid position there off the start of this race. We will certainly take that one, and now in the slipstream of Charles Leclerc there, and despite not quite the best engine in Formula 1 anymore, Racing Point's still making more and more upgrades. We're still hanging on down the straights, and that is the most important thing at the moment. The AI progress is just so phenomenally quick on F1 2019. It's still beyond a joke at the moment, and I think we've made slow progress relative to the rest of the field, but it's certainly not been enough. Generally at the moment, it could take us a good 5 or 6 seasons unless we get some really good rule changes. It could take quite a while before we're really in a championship battling position, especially with no rule changes. As we head into Season 3, it has really just made the mountain that little bit harder to climb, as well as we head in towards the final couple of corners of lap 1. Actually, Valtteri Bottas in the Red Bull, not been a season to remember for him, currently leads the way then. Red Bull, I don't think they've won a race so far this 2020 season. Bottas has not done too badly, but it's certainly not been a season to remember for the entirety of the Red Bull team. I think they're all the way down in P5 in the Constructors' World Championship. Well, that'll be their worst result since 2008, if I'm not mistaken. So their worst result in over a decade by the end of the season, unless they get a really, really big turnaround in the final couple of rounds of this World Championship. The P5 in the Constructors at the moment for them. And well, Max Verstappen is certainly going to be trying to eye up some points in this Grand Prix. We're starting a little bit further down the order than he would have liked. It's going to make it a bit difficult, but as we head in towards the back straight, you can see already starting to lose a little bit of touch with Charles Leclerc just in front of us there. Obviously, all those guys have got such a performance advantage over ourselves, and yeah, it wouldn't be long before Verstappen, I said he was going to be eyeing up some points in this Grand Prix. He was going to move up the inside and then up into P12 of this race there. So we do want to try and stick close to the Red Bull as best as possible here, but I think it was going to be a very, very tall order here, especially in the opening few laps of this Grand Prix. You can see the end of lap 3, Verstappen had gone. In all honesty there, we really, really didn't... I don't know what it is on F1 2019, especially in Season 2. It's very much like HAAS in real life, just we can't seem to keep the tyres in check in the opening stint of the Grand Prix. We've seen this so many times by HAAS in the real F1 2019 season, where they've just absolutely fallen away in the early stages of the race. It looks like we might be getting a repeat of that in this series, and sadly for me, well, I say sadly, quite luckily for me, I'll be honest with you, we sort of found ourselves going into no man's land in this Grand Prix throughout the opening stint. A 4-second gap to Verstappen in front and a 3.5-second gap to Lance Stroll behind, and that will take us all the way up until our opening pit stop of this Grand Prix. We have been able to get the tyres basically the full stint length. You can see a few other drivers starting to make their first pit stop of the day. Will certainly take being able to get as far as everyone else, because usually we end up having to dive in a little bit early and trying to go for a cheeky undercut in these races so far this season. But yeah, we have been able to hold on to the tyres just about. We had lost a little bit of time towards the end of the stint there. But yeah, we did come back out behind Charles Leclerc in this Grand Prix. As you can see, I think there's a little bit of battling going on as well, just up in front of him. So we needed to get our head down, second stint of the day, try and keep the tyres in check, everything in balance here, and really just try and pound our laps around and get this car into a good operating window once again there. And yeah, it wouldn't take long before obviously the few of the AI started to make their first pit stop of the day there, and see already by the start of lap 11 just how much grit we had over Antonio Giovinazzi. I'm not too sure if he picked up damage, but right around the outside of the Alfa Romeo as we head through Sector 1 there. Not really the best lines, I'll be honest. That's my best Thierry Marduk impression going through Sector 1 and the start of Sector 2 there. But yeah, up now into P16 of this Grand Prix there. Like I said, not too sure if Giovinazzi had some sort of car issues or whether it's just his lack of pace at the moment there. But by the end of lap 11, my teammate Grosjean would dive it into the pit lane there, as well as Kimi Räikkönen, and I think it's Lance Stroll as well there. So we were now back up into P13 of this Grand Prix, where we were before the first pit stop window in this race, and I will certainly take that at the moment there. Giovinazzi opting to stay out another lap in this Grand Prix. Now, it looked clear that a lot of the AI were going to be trying to make the one-stop work in this races. We've really, really got to try and push on throughout this second stint of the Grand Prix and try to use up these soft tyres to all of their ability. They exceed towards the end of lap 15 though, and we had been able to build up ourselves a little bit of a margin. It seemed Carlos Sainz was one of the only other drivers that was actually going to try and make this two-stop work. They're going very, very long on his first stint on the soft compound tyres there, but we've got a 10-second gap to Gasly up the road, 6 seconds to Carlos Sainz as well here. It has certainly been a lonely first half of this Grand Prix. Nothing really had happened apart from that move on Giovinazzi, and obviously getting overtaken by Verstappen there. We can see lap 15, a huge snap of oversteer as we head in towards the final couple of corners, and we have really, really tried to push this set of the soft compound tyres there as much as possible. And you can see by the end of lap 15, they had really had all of their use taken up on them there. 13 laps on a set of mediums isn't too much of a gamble. It's certainly not quite as far as I would have wanted, but we can take that and we can try and continue on in this Grand Prix. They're diving into the pit lane once again, and this time around I spoke about how I've been able to nail the pit stops. Ever since that, every pit stop I seem to have done in recent weeks has not been one to remember here. So yeah, we have still got to continue on though, and we're going to be back down into P18 of this Grand Prix there. P17 and 18, not quite, I'm sure, what HAAS would have wanted in this weekend, but you know, we've got the fresh set now, the medium compact tyres, and hopefully we should be able to capitalise on all these guys as quickly as possible here. You can see lap 17 now all over the back of my teammate Roman Grosjean. And yeah, like I said, probably not the results HAAS would have wanted so far in this Grand Prix, but still, we can try and give the American fans a little bit of a show nonetheless here. Now on the DRS of my teammate here, we've got the slipstream, everything like that, putting everything we can to our disposal there. 209 miles an hour as we head down in towards Sector 3 here. Around the outside of my teammate, no, slams the door shut. And we couldn't make the move work in that situation, so we are going to have to just sit on the rear of my teammate Roman Grosjean as we head down in towards the next couple of corners there. Really struggling with a bit of understeer. And we've got a huge amount of aero wash from my teammate there as we head in towards the final few corners of lap 17. No, 10 laps to go now of this Grand Prix. We really do need to try and get past my teammate Roman Grosjean as quickly as possible here, because you know we can't afford to lose at any time in this Grand Prix. And still, Grosjean yet at any point in this World Championship just to accept, you know, we are the faster driver, we're on a better strategy, and well, we're going to have to fight this one up the inside in towards Taiwan. We give him the squeeze there, maybe a little bit of HAAS Civil War returning in Season 2 of this series there, but Grosjean tries to look around the outside, but once again, we do give him the room around the outside, but we're able to get the drive on the exit of the corner there, and now move ourselves back up into P17 of this Grand Prix. So still trying to make progress at the moment there, and next up on the old hit list would be Alexander Albon here. Are we going to be able to close it to him over the next couple of laps here? We do still need to try and watch out potentially from Grosjean as we head in towards Sector 2. No, I don't think he's going to be close enough to really be able to get the DRS run there. We seem to have a bit of extra pace, and yeah, that would mean that we were now into a bit of safety. And you can see by the end of lap 19 here now, all over the back of Alexander Albon. Just one lap later, the Toro Rosso really not sticking down the straights, and to the outside we go of the Toro Rosso man there, trying to get the car slowed down around the outside. They're running a little bit deep over the curbs, so we're going to be able to keep the nose up the inside in towards the next couple of corners there. Hang him out to dry, and we are now back up into P14 of this Grand Prix as a few more drivers once again make their second pit stop of this Grand Prix there. I think it was Carlos Sainz as well as, I'm not too sure, perhaps it was just Carlos Sainz that had dived into the pit lane there. Now on towards lap 21. You can see we had closed up the gap to Kimi Räikkönen as well here. My old nemesis won Kimi Räikkönen in this championship. Just 7 laps to go as we head in towards the final quarter of this Grand Prix. We've got to try and get past the Alpha man as soon as possible here, because now we had a bit of a weird moment coming in towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix. We had Lance Stroll just at the road there. You can see him further up the road. We have Carlos Sainz trying to close us down as well, but we can't focus on the McLaren just yet. We have still got to make this move work on Kimi Räikkönen there, right around the outside of him, like we did on Alexander Albon. This time around, just a little less of the theatricals there. We managed to make it a bit more of a tidy move there, and that made it easier for ourselves. And now up into P13 of this Grand Prix there. But yeah, like I said, Lance Stroll we were making big inroads on, but Carlos Sainz as well from behind was really starting to close up this gap. And as we head now onto lap 24 of this Grand Prix there, we were all starting to concertina up on each other just a little bit. We had closed up to Lance Stroll before Sainz could get to us, but now we need to try and make this move work as soon as possible here. And the McLaren very strong actually down the straights here. We are going to try to look around the outside as we head down in towards the next couple of corners there, but just pinched the front wheels there means we're not going to quite be able to get the rotation in the front end, and we do have to slot in behind it for the moment here. And these tyres with 4 laps to go, really, you know, starting to feel a little bit worn out, struggling a little bit with the optimum grip here. We just couldn't quite extract everything we'd want from this HAAS car at the moment here as we head through the final couple of corners of lap 24 here. We are still green though in the first 2 sectors of this lap, so clearly, you know, as the fuel gets a bit lighter as well, we might not have the overall grip, but we've certainly got a little bit of, you know, the lightness of the car on our side here. It's now 3 laps to go of this Grand Prix there. You can see we're now all over the back of Lance Stroll here. Are we going to be able to make any sort of move down in towards turn 1 here? Stroll tries to go a little bit defensive. We move further to the inside, try to abuse the track width as we head in towards turn 1 there, but pinch the front, actually lock the rears as well as we head in towards turn 1 there, and that's a nice open door for Lance Stroll once again to hold on to P12 of this Grand Prix as we head now down through Sector 2. Once again, here's Stroll really just parking the bus as we head through those couple of corners there. The gap 0.3 of a second, and now Carlos Sainz just 2.3 back as well here. We've really got to start watching from his McLaren teammate here, and perhaps this is Stroll's plan all along, really just try and back us into his teammate here, so McLaren can try and pick up, you know, it's not going to be any points unless we see something dramatic happen up inside the top 10 there, but we've really got to try and get this move done on Lance Stroll here. Once again, trying to throw absolutely everything that this car's got. Overtake mode, rate drives, everything like that. DRS 210 miles an hour as we head in towards the next couple of corners here, in towards Sector 3. And once again, Lance Stroll parking on the apex nice and tidy there. We have a look around the outside once again, but I don't think we're going to make anything work this time around. Stroll is doing a fantastic job of just defending as much as possible here. But speak about defending, we're going to lunge it up the inside through the next couple of corners there, and a bit of side pod contact there. We get a huge dumper wheel spin, and that's going to mean Stroll is going to be safe for the next few corners here. And well, that's actually going to give Carlos Sainz the opportunity straight up the inside for the other McLaren man there. And well, Matt Stroll, if that was his plan, it's really started to pay off here. 2 laps to go now of this Grand Prix, and now everyone, Carlos Sainz now well and truly in this battle as well. Stroll have been able to get himself a little bit of a breakaway, but I don't think it's going to last all too long here. Around the outside of Carlos Sainz as we head in towards the next couple of corners. No, couldn't make the move once again there, and the McLaren, yeah, just has enough to hold on down the straights at the moment there, and it was getting really frustrated, just stuck behind these guys at this stage of the day. There, 2 laps to go now as we head in towards lap 27 here. Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz still trying to hold on there, and actually Sainz is going to be able to get a really good run out of the final corner there. Stroll plays it defensive though, so perhaps he's not playing the team card as we head in towards turn 1 there. Sainz has to go to the outside there. The McLaren side by side as we head through turn 1 there. Down the hill in towards turn 2. Stroll just about gives Sainz the room as they head in towards the fast S section there, and Stroll does hold on firm this time around there, and he does hold on to P12 of this Grand Prix. And at the moment, we just need to try and sit back and watch it. Don't really want to try and go for any sort of move as we head through in towards Sector 2 here, and now we need to try and get the run out onto the back straight over here. Is Stroll and Sainz going to be able to do anything as we head down the hill once again here? This looks like a titanic battle towards the end of this Grand Prix. A three-way scrap. We don't get many of these in this series there. Now onto the back straightaway here. Are we going to be able to get any sort of run? We're going to have the double slipstream from both Sainz and Lance Stroll here. I think Sainz is going to be able to have a look up the inside as we head down in towards the next couple of corners here, and I'm going to try and follow him through in towards the braking zone there. Stroll tries to turn in, but we hold firm, hang him out straight on the exit of the corner there, and he's actually going to lunge it back up the inside. So maybe now he is trying to play the team card here, try to play it defensive, but we hold it right around the outside there. Stroll going to try and make it work once again there, but cannot make it work. We slam the door shut on the exit of the corner there, and we now have followed through from Carlos Sainz there. We're now up to P13 of this Grand Prix with just 1 lap to go here of this race. Are we going to be able to hold on and potentially try and hassle the other McLaren car here as we head in towards the final lap now of this race? Just 1 more lap to go here of the US Grand Prix. Are we going to be able to stick close enough to Carlos Sainz? He's got the tyre advantage, but we've both shredded these tyres over the last few laps. You can see how much we're able to gain through just a couple of corners here. Sergio Perez wins the race 3 in a row for the Racing Point man. If that certainly isn't a precedent being set ready for season 3 of this HAAS Road to Glory career, man, I don't know what is there. 3 wins for Sergio Perez back to back there. You really couldn't ask for much more for him here in this Grand Prix. You can see heading out onto the back straight just 1 more time in this Grand Prix. I'm sure the American fans were hoping we'd be able to score at least a few points in this Grand Prix, but we're certainly going to try and give it everything around the outside of Carlos Sainz there, down the back straight, and nothing the McLaren can do this time around. We were fully past him by the time we got in towards the next couple of corners there, and yeah, that's going to mean for Carlos Sainz, nothing he could do in terms of defence there. In towards the penultimate corner of this Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz, nothing he can really try and do there. Is he going to be able to have a look up the inside in towards the final corner there? We run a little bit deep off the apex there. Sainz thinks about it, but nothing he can do, and it's a hard-fought P12. Not quite what I would have wanted, but we fought hard and we did come out on top at the end of the day there, and it's P12 at the end of the US Grand Prix.
Racing Point deserved a win today, and they got it. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, when you overtake that many people, I'd certainly hope you'd win the race. Their car was really effective in the slipstream here today, and the team would be pleased that they didn't cook the engine, given how long they were spending in the hot air behind other cars. They had a lot of confidence to push their tyres hard as well, especially going into the corners, which allowed for some late braking and some exciting passes.
Racing Point's performance today has shown that they can be competitive with the veterans of the sport. They're making their way out to the podium now as we speak, and the reaction from the crowd must be incredibly uplifting for them. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Sebastian Vettel will be very happy with that result as he extends his championship lead. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
So there we are then, guys, the end of the US Grand Prix and yet another one. Well, I think is that the second or third? Oh no, it's at least the second in 3 races. 1-2 for Racing Point. They are really setting down a gauntlet ready for Season 3 there. Lucas Weber holds on ahead of his 6-time Formula 1 World Championship teammate Lewis Hamilton for P3 at the end of the day. Really does go to show just how OP Lucas Weber is on F1 2019. Now Verstappen, all the way from P14, moving himself into 5th place at the end of the day ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Couldn't capitalise as much as he would have liked over his teammate Charles Leclerc there. Devon Butler and Gasly, 7th and 8th. Honestly, rather worryingly a good result for Mercedes there, with Charles Leclerc down in 9th. Lando Norris rounds out the points finish there with George Russell and myself holding on to P12 at the end of the day. Sainz, Stroll, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Albon and Kvyat there, and Bottas, although he led the way at the start there. Unfortunate DNF at the end of the day means with just 2 rounds to go, if Sebastian Vettel wins the next Grand Prix, he should crown himself as the Formula 1 World Champion, but it's certainly all still to play for there. 18 points separate the top 2. Only one change. Verstappen jumps past Gasly in the Drivers' World Championship, and Renault now 2 points off Mercedes for P3 in the Constructors' World Championship as well there. Red Bull, Williams, ourselves, all in no man's land. Alfa Romeo sort of need a miracle if they want to jump McLaren as well there at the end of the day. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here as well and you want to see more from the HAAS Road to Glory career mode. But I will see you guys next time for the penultimate round of the season. We head to the truly iconic Brazilian Grand Prix.